Hello and welcome to the UFC 305 live watch along. Myself and Liam Tully here. How are we, Liam?
All good, mate. All good.
Good stuff. We've kicked in with a couple of people joined us already. That's great. We're at the entrances. Sorry, they're actually in the octagon now. Tai Tuivasa and Jairzinho Rosenstruik for this heavyweight fight in Perth. I can't see this one lasting too long. Liam, give us a little prediction of what you see unfolding here.
I fancy Tuivasa to get his first win in 5 fights. I just think tonight he's going to be the one to land first.
Very interesting. I'm going to go the other way. I do think Rosenstruik's going to be too clean. I think he may get it done here, but you never know. You do never know.
It's a pick of mate. It's which of these big boys lands first. Who gets the bombs away first?
Yeah, Tai Tuivasa have been some fun fights, man. That Greg Hardy fight, Cyril Gane when he fought Cyril Gane. What was the other one? Derek Lewis. The Derek Lewis fight was unbelievable.
Elbow he finished Lewis was
unbelievable. You know for a fact Tai Tuivasa in front of a home crowd is going to be coming and he's going to be swinging some bombs from the first minute here. I do love Tai. I do love him. I hope he can get it done, but Biggie Boy's a good striker. He is a good striker, Jairzinho.
Yeah, the one thing that worries me with Tai is the same as always, his cardio and just his accuracy. He just seems to wing away however he wants. Rosenstruik can be accurate and on the money when he wants to be, which could be what gets him over the line in this fight.
Yeah, I love it. I love it when Bruce Buffer gets in their faces for the intros. I do love that. But yeah, like you said, Lynn, we're just talking off camera. It's what 10 to 11 a.m. in the morning in Perth right now. So it must be weird to kind of have your breakfast and then just get straight in the octagon.
Yeah, it's the way they do it. It's the same if you look at some of the boxing events over in Australia recently. They've stuck to this time frame to suit the US audience. So it's obviously something they know works for them out there as well.
I must admit, compare that to UFC 304 in Manchester when Paddy Pimblett and Tom Aspinall and Leon were fighting at 4 or 5 a.m. I'd much rather fight at 10 a.m. in the morning, I think, than 4 a.m.
Yeah, absolutely.
That must be a lot harder on the clock. Thanks to the three that are tuned in and joined us so far, guys. Appreciate it. Get some comments. Let us know your predictions, and we'll pick them off as we go. Tuivasa versus Rosenstruik underway. Tai Tuivasa walking forward with a high guard.
Nothing landed from either so far. Just feeling out the process, working out the range.
Yeah.
Good inside leg kick from Biggie there.
I just think both guys hit so hard that as soon as one lands a really telling strike, it's game over. Jairzinho Rosenstruik's really active, actually. He's fought. You think how many people he's fought since he's been in the UFC? He's fought all of the top guys.
And he constantly bounces back. He doesn't let a defeat define him, does he? He bounce back into the next fight, and he's always ready to go.
Do you know what though? For Tai Tuivasa, I do worry about where he goes from here if he does lose this fight. I think it's a potential. I don't know if retirement's a bit strong, but like you say, what's this? 5 in a row if he loses this one, or 6 in a row?
5 in a row if he loses this one.
5 in a row if he loses this one. Yeah, it's tough to see where he goes from here. He is fighting the elite level of competition, and it has to be said. But the UFC don't really do step backwards or step down, or it's very cagey. Actually, through a couple of minutes here in the first round.
It is, and for me, if Tai loses this one, then fun time's over for him. Kind of, I don't think Dana or anyone else will be able to give him any more rope to sort of try and pull himself back up.
Yeah, I think that's probably what explains the cautious enough approach from Tai Tuivasa early doors in this fight. I think he knows that this is his last possible chance at making a good solid run in the UFC. I think he moved and relocated. I think he left Australia and went to Abu Dhabi. He's clearly dedicated and taking it seriously, but let's see.
Yeah, he flew in on, I think it was Monday, watching the embedded. So he's flown in late. He's dedicated himself this time, which is by his own admission, something he's not done throughout his career.
Yeah, most definitely. I do love Ty's little podge. He's always kind of got that little bit hanging over, hasn't he? Bless him.
Hope for the normal person at home to make a hit there as well.
Hope for the average Joe. Oh, some good shots there by Rosenstruik.
He's just found his range. Ty's just there for him to hit, and he's already found his range. It won't be long before something big lands now.
Yeah. Seems to be biting on the feints just a little bit as well. But Tuivasa is coming back into range a little bit here. He's, I did say in my preview I'd be gobsmacked if this makes it into round 2, but I think I'll be gobsmacked if it doesn't now.
Yeah.
It's a lot cagier than what I actually thought it would be.
I think Ty's struggling a bit here with the jittery movements of Rosenstruik. Yeah. Every sort of little twitch is drawing some sort of reaction. He hasn't seemed to settle down into his own rhythm yet.
Definitely. People forget it's kickboxing is legit. Jairzinho Rosenstruik. He's one of the most legit kickboxers.
That right hand from Ty wasn't too far away there.
Yeah, Ty's quick. For a big guy, Tai Tuivasa, he's always been quick.
Well, it was his speed and volume as much as his power on his way up, wasn't it?
Most definitely. Looks can be deceiving. You wouldn't look at him and think he's got fast hands, but it's kind of a bit like Andy Ruiz in boxing. Kind of got that same shape, but geez, when that guy throws, he throws with intent, and he's got fast hands. Oh, nice little combination by Rosenstruik. So you're not too far off the end of the first round now. Rosenstruik for me, he's been probably the better in what's been an even enough round. Not too much gone on, but Jairzinho just missed. Yeah, we'll try and do some scoring as the fights go. Obviously, I'll input my scores. Liam can do his as well. Thanks to those that are on and watching currently. Let us know how you score in the fights, obviously, as well. And that'll do it for the end of... Ooh, a couple of big shots coming in towards the end of the first round, both missing. But I'm surprised you made it out of round 1. I really am. I thought that wouldn't last 5 minutes. But both sort of started to warm up towards the end of the first round, Liam. I don't know what you thought, but I'd probably edge that one to Jairzinho Rosenstruik. But there wasn't a lot of action, was there, in all honesty?
In all honesty, there wasn't. Rosenstruik seemed to get confident, find his range a bit quicker. Ty was definitely, those last few shots he threw at the end of the round, perhaps that was him now feeling comfortable finding his range. But inside leg kick from Rosenstruik as well. He's looking at what Cyril Gane done to Ty back a couple of years ago in Paris. He's really trying to slow down his dominant foot as well, try and make it harder for him to get out of range once he's in.
That's it. People forget how much of a run Tai Tuivasa was on at that point after the Derek Lewis win. Obviously, got the highlight reel knockout against Greg Hardy, I think, before that, and he dropped Cyril Gane. He caused Cyril Gane a hell of a lot of issues that night in Paris. He really did.
Yeah, and
obviously Cyril got a huge KO in the end, and so on and so forth. But it was a good fight.
Yeah, and that was after Ty had emptied his gas tank. It was the first time he gone more than 3 rounds in the UFC as well.
Yeah, definitely. Round 2 underway then. Tai Tuivasa against Jairzinho Rosenstruik. Biggie boy just so relaxed, isn't he? Just shoulders are just loose. Tai Tuivasa looks a little bit more tense.
Yeah,
a lot more on the line for him. I think Rosenstruik, he'll be back regardless of what happens. But the UFC, do they keep him in because he sells tickets in Australia and is popular for the shoeies and that kind of thing? There's potential, I guess. But for me, Tai Tuivasa could be fighting for his UFC career in this one.
For me, Rosenstruik's got credit in the bank for what he's done over the last year, 18 months, whereas Ty just needs to do something here. You can't keep living off of the 3-4 years ago. As harsh as that sounds, but that's the way, especially in the UFC, they move.
Absolutely.
There's
really not a lot going on. I think both of these guys are disrespecting each other's power, to be honest with you. But I'm expecting at some point that somebody's going to get hit and wobbled and something's going to happen. But so far, it's been a lot. Yeah, they're opening up a little bit here in the second round, but some good shots by Ty there. Tai Tuivasa is coming forward. They're starting to throw down. Yeah, we knew it wouldn't last long. We knew it wouldn't last long. The caginess.
And we know they can both throw on the inside as well. We've seen them both win fights with elbows and hooks on the inside. So this is definitely.
Ty's coming in recklessly now. Oh, Rosenstruck with some huge strikes on the cage there. Ty took him well. His chin held up really well there because there were some good shots there from Rosenstruck.
That's an improvement in his game for me. Actually, managed to tuck his chin up and not just leave it there as a target.
Yeah. He rolled nicely with those punches. He did because Jairzinho Rosenstruck can bang. He really can. He got caught on the way in there. He got caught on the way in there. Again, though, he's took that well.
What is this taken out of him, though? His mouth, Ty's mouth is now open. He's breathing heavier.
Ty seems to really want to fight fire with fire now. I don't know if that's the best tactic, but he's not going to win a range with Rosenstruck. Really, he has to try and rough it up. He has to try and get in close. The crisper striker in this matchup is Jairzinho Rosenstruck.
Yeah, Ty knows he's got to force the issue. If he just tries to just pick Rosenstruck off, then he's going to lose this comfortably for me. It's not his route to victory.
Yeah, no, definite improvement on the chin of Tai Tuivasa. I think he's been knocked out by much lesser shots than that for me in his previous fights. So credit to him. Couple of minutes. We got a leg injury. Or was he stung?
Ooh.
Oh, Jairzinho on top here. Oh, Ty's going to be dangerous though. Throwing back. Oh, did Tuivasa? Oh, they're swinging now. They are swinging. We're getting some action now. Tai Tuivasa looks like he might go for broke here.
Who lands first? Who lands the one big shot first? Could
get a finish either way here in the next minute and a half.
Did Ty bleeding as well?
He did.
It looked like it. Just looking at the replay now.
Tai Tuivasa definitely hurt his leg there. It wasn't a punch. It definitely was a leg kick. So Tai Tuivasa could well be fighting compromised, and it does look like it. So he could go for broke. He could try and get a stoppage. Maybe he doesn't have another round left in that leg. So let's keep an eye on that Tai Tuivasa leg. He's
the way that leg just come down from that kick.
Yeah. The replay got us that good. That could have, who knows the extent of that injury, but you look at the stats. Significant strikes. He's got over 3 times as many as Tai Tuivasa Rosenstruck in this fight. Ty's face is looking a bit more of a bloody mess now. This second round, although it's been heating up and Ty's had a couple of moments, Jairzinho Rosenstruck's really on top here.
Absolutely, Ty's leg is actually dragging. He's not got that bounce. He's a little bit slower at getting out of range. I mean, he's never the quickest.
For sure, I think at some point Tai Tuivasa is going to go for broke here. I don't know if he's going to survive the 3 rounds on this compromised leg.
You can see looking at him.
Towards an end of round 2.
He's bothered by his leg. You can see he's rolling the shorts up. He's not happy.
Yeah, he's trying to get some life into the leg. Yeah, there we go. Round two's out. This is going to be interesting. Yeah, look, he's limping back to the corner. Yeah, that leg is gone from Tai Tuivasa. And he shouldn't sit down. He shouldn't sit down here because they're going to they're going to let him fight on. I think. Yeah, he shouldn't sit down. There. He's standing up because if he sits down and that leg just completely seizes up, that's it. It's game over.
Rosenstruck put 5 kicks in a row onto that leg in the last 20 seconds of the second round. So any injury that was there, it's also been taken 5 leg kicks that were particularly hard. Yeah. But they were enough to make Ty go, oh shit, there is something not right here if he wasn't already feeling it.
So I think they're going to show us, are they? Yeah, to be honest with you, that leg of Tai Tuivasa just got a bullseye on it now, hasn't it, for Rosenstruck for 5 minutes? It really has. Shots are huge.
If he can't move out of the way, then that's just going to be a target.
Yeah, he checked it, didn't he? Rosenstruck just checked the leg kick, and that was it.
Yeah, you can see it straight away.
It'd be a foot injury, that it's just the top of his foot, isn't it? They're just crazy.
He's caught that on the knee, hasn't he?
Yeah, Last round's underway. Tuivasa against Jairzinho Rosenstruik. Thank you for those that have joined us throughout. A few of you have stayed on, so appreciate it.
He's going to do well to get through 5
Me,
minutes.
it's 2-0 to Jairzinho Rosenstruik with 4.5 minutes left into the last round here. Let us know if you're watching, guys. Drop a little comment in there to see how you're scoring it. How have you got it, Liam?
Exactly the same as you, 2-0 to Rosenstruik.
I would have had this fight as a lock for not going the distance, so let's see how the next 4 minutes play out.
Tai not going for broke yet. Is it something he's going to hold out on for the last couple of minutes of the fight?
Yeah.
As I say that, they both start swinging again.
Tai Tuivasa is not going to just allow himself to lose a 3-0 decision here. At some point during the next few minutes, he is going to bite down on the gum shield and start throwing absolute bombs, and he's going to be willing to get knocked out, I do believe, during that period. So strap yourselves in. You're going to see some action here in this last 3 or so minutes.
Absolutely. For me, the worst thing he can do is lose 3-0 on points. That is probably given the UFC invitation to cut him. He needs to at least show.
Yeah.
He's now just being picked off with leg kicks or with the hands for me.
Yeah, Biggie Boy hasn't got out first gear for me. He hasn't ever really looked troubled as he is. He's just fighting his fight, and
he hasn't needed to. That's the thing. Tai hasn't put him in a position where he's having to show more of his skill set. He's able to do this at a pretty slow pace, if we're being honest. It's not exactly setting the world alight, the pace we're seeing here.
Yeah, the crowd are going to really get involved here in the last 3 or so minutes. I think they're going to really try and pull Tai through. He'll know, his corner will know, everybody will know that he needs a knockout here to win this fight. So,
I mean, there you go. It's up on the screen now. Tai is only connected with 20% of the punches he's thrown, which is just not enough. You're not going to make a dent in an opponent of Rosenstruik's stature.
This is Rosenstruik's tactic probably throughout. He didn't ever really want to be in the pocket with Tai, so he's probably just, the tactic coming in was probably just, stay on the outside. I'll pick him off if the opportunity presents itself for a knockout, and great, I'll take it. But if not, then I'll comfortably beat this guy at distance. And 2.5 rounds in, that's pretty much exactly what's happened.
Yeah.
But Tai's going to come here, and he's gonna go for it in the last little stanza of this fight. Oh, a little elbow on the break from Tai Tuivasa. Don't think it's fully connected.
That wasn't quite on the button.
Yeah, he's a warrior though, Tai Tuivasa. Oh, nearly. But Rosenstruik's just a step ahead, isn't he? He can see everything coming. He can telegraph it. He's comfortable right now, Jairzinho Rosenstruik. Oh, God, I'm having a word with both the fighters there. Tying back in. Tuivasa's face is looking a mess, isn't it now?
Yeah,
got a little cut under his right eye, has he?
He's been pieced up when I lead hand from Rosenstruik almost from the first rounds.
Look at that.
It's almost as if he's happy to be hit by the lead hands, and then everything else he wants to get out of the way of. But
fight's nearly coming to an end. Tai Tuivasa's landed 11 headshots. That's the story of the fight for me. Rosenstruik just been. But you just need one, as we know. You just never know. One shot can change absolutely everything.
He just hasn't been able to get to grips with Rosenstruik's jittery movements. Me, those little half shudders back he seems to be throwing then, as opposed to when he's on his way in still, which possibly shows the level of Tuivasa as well, that he's not quite elite enough as a mixed martial artist to make those adjustments to
100%.
deal with his Rosenstruik's movement, because it's not as if it's something out of this world we've not seen before, but it's enough to keep him a step ahead of Tai here.
Yeah.
As we enter the last 40 seconds, and Rosenstruik just needs to keep moving around.
Yeah, all he needs to do is stay on his feet here, and he's probably won a 30-27 on all three judges' scorecards. So, let's see if Tai's going to really go for something for broke here. I'm surprised that he hadn't before that, but we'll see. Last 15.
20 seconds. 20 seconds. Here we go.
Jairzinho's caught. He's calling the Max Holloway. He's pointing down to the octagon. Are we going to get it? Going to get a mutual agreement?
I don't think so.
Not really.
Not really. No.
Yeah, Tai misses with a couple at the end, but that one's in the box. I was kind of hoping for something explosive and something to get us going. Thanks for the 5 that are on with us. It's 4:07 in the UK, so we're pushing on to try and power through. But that unfortunately wasn't something to get the juices flowing. But hey ho, Jairzinho Rozenstruik fought a good fight there. Can't knock him for that. The only chance that Tai Tuivasa would have ever had in that fight for me is if Rozenstruik ended up getting into a just a shootout with him, and realistically that's just not the thing to do. Cyril Gane did that and he nearly got hurt and beat that way, so you don't do that with Tai. You just beat him at range, exactly like Jairzinho Rozenstruik just did.
You're looking at these replays here, and everything me and you were both saying during the fight, mate, is true. Rozenstruik was picking him off on the way in, and then as Tai was letting his hands go, that's where he's letting the shorter, crisper hooks go. And yeah, there was no need for Rozenstruik to get out of first gear. You can look at him now; he looks like he could go another 2 rounds if he needed to. And
yeah, most definitely. So yeah, let us know, guys. 6 on with us now. Thanks for tuning in and keeping it going. Let us know how you scored that one. Let us know what you've got coming up for the next 3 fights on the card, which are by far the best 3 fights. We should get some decent action next up with Mateusz Gamrot and Dan Hooker. Kai Kara-France and Steve Erceg should be a good one too. And in the main event, we discussed this in the week. Myself, Liam, and Jason Murphy, who we have on. Fight of the year for me so far is Dricus Du Plessis. That is going to be such huge implications. Fight week's been brewing unbelievably well, but people hinting at an Israel Adesanya retirement perhaps after the fight. So there's huge implications in that main event in just probably just over an hour's time. But Jairzinho Rozenstruik just got the decision. Obviously, didn't really need to hold too much on that one. I was just saying he's won a split decision.
What?
Yeah, Jairzinho Rozenstruik won a split decision. Obviously, guys, we have no volume here, but for those of you that are in with us, if you could let us know the cards, I'm sure we'll find them out very shortly anyway. But for me, that was as crystal clear a 3-0 fight as you could see. Maybe the first round was a little bit less action. Maybe, I don't know. But, here we go.
One judge scored it 30-27 tie.
I mean, that is. Wow. I can't believe that.
That judge enjoyed his Saturday night in Perth before he came to the fights.
I mean, there's home cooking, and then there's a 30-27 in Tai Tuivasa and Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Wow.
I don't actually think there was an Australasian judge in that fight either. Don't quote me on that, but I don't think there was an Australasian judge for that fight. Yes. How anyone sees that 30-27 to tie, like we say, maybe give him 1 round, but yeah, 30-27. Nah, can't see that.
Very interesting, but anyway, the right winner was red, so I don't think that was controversy.
30-27 Tuivasa, 30-27 Rozenstruik, 29-28 Rozenstruik. So 2 of the 3 judges gave the first round to Tai Tuivasa.
Yeah, I really don't get that at all.
No.
Just trying to have a look if there's any reaction going on to this Tai Tuivasa 3-0 scorecard.
Much the same reaction to us. 30-27 is a criminal offence.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, 30-27. What are we smoking in Australia? I'm glad that we're not alone in that, because sometimes I know you can just be watching a fight wrong. We've all been there before, which is a completely normal thing. But anyway, right winner was read and announced, and we'll look forward to Dan Hooker and Mateusz Gamrot. I'd imagine that this one's going to light the place up.
Hooker again, another fighter possibly fighting to keep a UFC contracts. He's back at home. An interesting
one, because he fought Jalen Turner, didn't he, last time out?
Yes.
And got the win. I do rate Jalen Turner's really tall, 155 pounder. We saw him. He lost to Renato Moicano in the most strangest of fashion last time out. He dropped him hard, and Moicano got saved by the bell, and then Moicano basically came back and ground and pounded him. He trapped him in the second round and won. It was bizarre because Turner tried the walk-off KO, and the ref didn't stop it. And I think he could have just followed up and got rid of Jalen Turner. Moicano in that, and then ended up losing the fight. He's a very up and down fighter, Jalen Turner. But for Gamrot, he's had an interesting UFC career. So you have to remember about Gamrot, he's Dustin Poirier's main training partner at American Top Team. He came from the Polish promotion KSW. So he lost to Guram Kutaladze in his UFC debut, Gamrot, and then he went on a decent streak. He beat Arman Sarukian in a 5-rounder, which was controversial. You know, some people had it was close, maybe not controversial, but it was close anyway. And then obviously he lost to Beneil in what was a big fight. Beneil's had a bit of a skid since then, being stopped by Oliveira and Arman. But he's had a bit of a yo-yo, Gamrot. But you know, for me, he's probably coming into that part of his. He's on the flip side. He's not with the top 155-pound guys, but he's definitely way above the guys that are on the fringe of the kind of, you know, top fives or whatever it may be. So I do expect him to beat Dan Hooker in this fight, but you know, he showed vulnerabilities in that Beneil Dariush loss, in fairness, Gamrot. So I think he beat RDA last time out, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. And I think, what you've just said, the points of their career they're at, you would expect Gamrot to win this, but Dan Hooker is a madman, and he's fighting in Australasia. Yeah. He's not gonna. He's gonna give everything he's got here, isn't he?
Oh yeah, you can bank on that. That's, you know, same as kind of Tai Tuivasa in that sense. He's definitely not going to go out. To be fair, he's riding a 2-fight win streak, Dan Hooker. After Arnold Allen stopped him viciously in London, and then Islam obviously took him out before that. So you know, he hasn't fought in a long time, has he? Saying that, it's just over a year, but it's long in UFC sense, because Dana always says that they have to be offered a minimum of 3 fights every year as part of their UFC contract or whatever it is. So if you're not, I don't know, maybe he's Dan Hooker been injured. He's been in the tattoo room a lot anyway in those years.
3 fights a year,
0 tattoos visible. In this fight, he's got about 1,500 tattoos visible.
Yeah, you just said they've got to be offered 3 fights a year. That's unless their name's John Jones, and they can do, you know, whatever they need to.
Yeah, you can say that again. So yeah, Gamrot since losing to Beneil's beat the Jalen Turner, who obviously Hooker fought last time out. Fiziev, when he got injured, Fiziev hurt himself, didn't he? And then RDA in the last one. So yeah, lost 2 of his UFC fights, both to decision, to Kutaladze and Beneil, who are obviously 2 very good fighters. But you would expect him to maybe have a little bit too much for Dan Hooker, but you just don't know. You just never know.
I'd expect him to. Just want to go back quickly to have asked the judge that scored a 30-27. That judge was from New Zealand, so it was an Australasian judge. Just wanted to pull myself up on that one. I saw the name on Twitter and thought I'd quick Google.
You know, what is he doing really? Is he just going off the crowd because they're cheering every time Tai Tuivasa lands a punch? You know, that's.
I would assume, but having just seen that wide shot of the arena, it's not full. It's about 60% full, that arena, and we're.
Yeah, I'd imagine that a lot of the I know the South Africans are in town for the rugby, weren't they, as well? So I'd imagine that, you know, there's going to be quite a few South Africans in attendance there tonight. I'd imagine you'll probably only see a full arena for the Cara France Erceg fight. A lot of people will just have a ticket for the main event there tonight for sure.
I imagine so. And having watched the rugby yesterday morning, the South Africans will be happy, so they'll be coming in buoyant moods.
Yeah, definitely. It's so intriguing. It is so intriguing. I can't wait for DDP against Izzy. It's just so hard to call, because, like, you know, Izzy's had a bit of an up and down, you know, last few years, it has to be said. But, you know, at the end of the day, he's the guy who knocked out Alex Pereira unconscious. But, like, I just can't see DDP. Look, I've picked Israel Adesanya to win this fight, but just can't see DDP losing, even though obviously I'm sure he will at some point, but he just seems to be a winner. Just seems to have that about him, just a winning mentality.
He's got that aura at the moment that Izzy had for a good 18, 24 months, hasn't he? Mm-hmm. He seems to have that aura. He seems like no matter what you throw at me, no matter what you do to me, I'm going to win at the moment.
Yeah. He's on a 2-fight cry at the press conference streak as well. I was reading yesterday.
Yeah, he acknowledged that as well himself on social media.
Yeah, that did make me laugh. Yeah. Do you know what though? I low-key think Dricus Du Plessis is quite a likable guy. You know, I love Israel Adesanya. I do want him to win tonight, but there's something about Du Plessis. I think he's funny. He's quite likable.
Afrikaans humor is very, very dry. You've got to be able to understand it.
Yes, definitely.
Not take it too seriously. So if you can, then yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like he's very good on the mic. He's incredibly good on the mic. And there's that famous interview now from the fight week of the Sean Strickland fight in January, where he goes, I do break people on the mic, and it's obviously gone viral this week because of the whole Israel Adesanya situation. But he does seem to be able to have the ability to break people on the mic. That's a fact. So yeah, we'll be getting underway with Mateusz Gamrot and Dan Hooker very, very soon.
Hooker's starting his walk now.
So yeah, this fight, and then Kara France against Steve Erceg, and then we have got the huge fight at middleweight coming up. Mateusz Gamrot on the way. Oh no, sorry, it's Dan Hooker, isn't it? Guys, hold up.
Dan Hooker's on the way.
Yeah, it is Hooker.
I'll tell you what, just to get us to that main event, if these are two first round finishes, I don't think anyone's going to complain at this point. So excited for this main event. Not overlooking these two fights at all.
Yeah, no, these are just kind of the starter and two starters, aren't they, to the main? We've got a 3-course meal, but there's 2 starters and a main and no dessert. I think that's what we're looking at here. Is Dan Hooker morphing into Charles Oliveira? With the blonde hair and all the tattoos? Is he morphing into Charles Oliveira?
He's channeling that for one last run at the title, isn't he?
Yeah. Is he going to all of a sudden just start finishing people in the first round, lighting them up on the feet and rear naked choking them?
He's up for this. Look at him. He's having a good time as he bounces around the cage here. For me, Dan Hooker's a fighter I've always loved, because it doesn't matter what the result is of the fight, he gives 100%.
Yeah, you're right. Always gives 100%. A hard man, loves being in there, loves a fight. I remember all years ago that he KO'd James Vick. That was a really brutal KO, and he's had some. Who did he need? He's had some real highlight reel KOs over his UFC career. Dan Hooker, he's a veteran in the UFC. He's been around for a long, long time, and he's only lost to a lot of this fighter. He's lost to top level fighters.
Well, Gamrot's wasting no time here. Threw his t-shirt back to his team as he's walking across. He's ready to go here. Yeah, just going back to Hooker quickly. That is the thing. His longevity. He's been in the UFC for a long time. The fighters he's lost to have either won world titles, lost world titles, or been won significant fights.
Yeah, definitely. You look at even Arnold Allen when he lost to him. Hooker's not a 145er. He's probably weight training that fight too. And then Islam
fight at last minute as well. So
yeah,
flew to the other side of the world. I think everything that could have gone against Hooker in that fight did, but he's a proud fighter, so he was never going to stand down for it, was he?
Yeah, that's it. And then you look at before that, Michael Chandler's UFC debut, and then before that, a Fight of the Year candidate. If anyone hasn't watched Dan Hooker versus Dustin Poirier in the Apex, jeez, that was a war. And Dan Hooker nearly took Dustin Poirier out in that fight. He really did. The second round in Dan Hooker versus Dustin Poirier in the Apex was one of the most brutal rounds of MMA I've ever seen. It was absolutely brutal. The end of the second round, Dustin Poirier looked like he was you know, he's gasping for air. He could barely breathe because Hooker's volume was he was all over him. But, you know, testament to DP, as always, he found a way and he got it done in the end. But, you know, there's that famous picture of Dan Hooker, I think, in hospital or in the back of an ambulance or something afterwards. Like, that must have took a lot of years off Dan Hooker's life, that fight. And to be honest with you, Dustin Poirier too. But that just shows you the level that Dan Hooker has been and can compete at. So, you know, don't be surprised if this fight is competitive. You know, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't see this fight being a blowout on either side. It will be a competitive fight.
Yeah.
Like you just said, Poirier Hooker is one of my favorite UFC fights of all time.
Yeah, it was an unbelievable
absolutely
fight.
Incredible.
I think there's a hint of a Mateusz Gamrot submission in this fight. Gamrot's jiu-jitsu is legit. But I would go out. My predictions are Mateusz Gamrot decision. But what do you think yourself, Liam?
Tend to agree with you. I do think Gamrot should get this done by decision, but right off Dan Hooker, I can see Hooker getting a TKO here, and I'm gonna stick my neck out and go Hooker TKO. I'm gonna stick my neck out.
3-1 underdog. Dan Hooker is in this fight, so we shall see. Yeah, Gamrot protecting a number 5 ranking then in this fight. So Dan Hooker, if he can pull off the victory, like you say, is back right up there in contention at 155 pounds. You know, realistically, Gamrot's fighting down here. There's not really too much to gain from Mateusz Gamrot in this fight, whereas Dan Hooker has absolutely everything to gain, and that's a dangerous fighter.
Absolutely, most dangerous fighter is a fighter that's got everything to gain, nothing to lose.
Yeah, 100%.
I have a feeling we may see the performance here from Dan that we perhaps expected from Ty in the last fight. I don't see Dan being happy to just get beat 30-27 straight away. He's out trying to land head kicks.
On the way then in Mateusz Gamrot, Dan Hooker, lightweight fight. I do love the UFC's pace, and they just move and move and move. You don't wait too long on a UFC fight, whereas they do marinate it a little bit more in boxing. So yeah, both men already, you can just see the volume. You know, Dan Hooker looks quite light on his feet, in fairness.
Gamrot taking a little bit of time just to see what's coming back at him here, figure out his range, look at what Dan's trying to do. Dan not throwing a lot so far, but there's a lot of movement there, a lot for Gamrot to try and figure out.
Look out for Dan Hooker's kicks and his knees with them long levers. You know, he's a tall 155, a 6 foot with a hell of a long reach, but those legs and knees, he really is brutal then.
Yeah, well, the first thing he did, he came out looking for a head kick. So there you go, straight away. Yeah. He knows the advantage he has is going to be in his reach, so he needs to try and use it and stamp his authority early.
Yeah. Oh, Gamrot charging forward. But like we were talking about earlier, you know, sometimes there are banana skins in fights. You know, is Gamrot, there's a potential for him to be looking past Dan Hooker in this fight. You know, maybe not, but sometimes that can happen. Is he looking for, you know, towards the top of the division rather than fighting down at Dan Hooker? You know, we're going to find out here.
Oh, I thought Hooker was back up there. I thought he'd done well to get straight back to his feet. But Gamrot does have him
look for Gamrot to use some wrestling in this fight for sure. That's where his skills lie. He is a good striker too, though, mind, but you know, not maybe like a one-punch KO kind of striker.
Hooker's cut open over his eye here. Quite a bit of blood coming from that, so that could play a factor as the fight goes on. Blood getting into the eye.
Mateusz Gamrot is very, very good on the ground. His jiu-jitsu is good too. So I did say I thought there might be a hint of a submission. I would be surprised if so, but you know,
give Dan credit there, mate.
Down here.
Give Dan Hooker his credit there, managing to get the stand up. That was could have been bad news for him. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, like you say, Dan Hooker got a bit of a cut on that. It's his left eye, is it?
I think it's his left eye. too tired to try and work out too much. But yeah, it looks like it's a step away.
Yeah, well, it's in reverse on the camera. Oh,
taking heavy strikes on the ground here. Taking heavy strikes.
Gamrot trying to lock in a guillotine before that, was it?
Look like it.
Obviously unsuccessful, but yeah, like you say, Hooker taking a bit of a pounding on the ground. Oh, that's bad news for Dan Hooker. Gamrot's all over him on the ground. Tied him up a little bit.
Unfortunately, if you could have painted a picture of how Hooker didn't want this fight to look, with just over a minute left in the first round, this is it.
This is a big first round for Mateusz Gamrot. Dan Hooker's face is a bloody mess. It's his left eye. There's blood streaming from it. Huge first round for the ball.
Blood running into the eye as well, which is definitely going to have an impact on his vision.
Mm-hmm.
And already he's back up on his feet after a couple of minutes on the ground.
Dan Hooker either.
Oh. Gamrot is rocking here. This is Hooker's chance for me.
Yeah.
And needs to create space again. Needs to separate again.
Yeah, Mateusz Gamrot dropped by Dan Hooker on wobbly legs. We've got a war breaking out in Perth. This is what we were asking for in the last fight. Do not sleep on Dan Hooker. Liam called the Dan Hooker TKO before this. Dan Hooker was over 3-1 to win outright. This has been a hell of a first round. Gamrot's had plenty of moments. Dan Hooker. Just painting the picture for those that are watching but may not be able to see the pictures. Mateusz Gamrot had Dan Hooker on the ground and pound. Dan Hooker's eyes bleeding, his face is a mess, but he's dropped Gamrot with a left hook over the top. Gamrot's legs were gone for a good little while. That was an incredible first round of action in Perth. Both fighters had huge success.
Just after I said this isn't the first round Hooker wanted, he found a way, didn't he? Landed a couple of short right hands and then he came in something bigger.
Huge for Dan Hooker psychologically. He knows that he can hurt Gamrot.
He has that puzzle when he had a smile on his face, looking up at the scoreboard, as opposed, despite the fact that he's cut and bleeding, he's also cut underneath his right eye as well. So he's got a cut above the left eye and a cut underneath the right eye, Hooker here. So plenty of scar tissue for Gamrot to play with in the last 10 minutes of this match.
It's a tremendously hard round to score because the visual of Gamrot having the ground and pound, but I think you have to give it to Dan Hooker. He dropped him on the feet. You know, he had Gamrot in more trouble than Gamrot had him, really, even though Gamrot was kind of pounding him on the ground, I guess. But I don't know. It's hard to score, but the visual of Gamrot on skates is, for me, you know, I don't know. It's a tough one. Let us know, guys. We've got 7 of you with us right now. Thanks for tuning in. Bit of an acknowledgement from the two fighters to each other as round 2 begins.
Gamrot is rushing in with his chin a bit more up in the air at the start of this second round. He's showing a bit more disrespect for what's coming back his way, which is surprising considering he's been on the floor. Yeah,
Dan Hooker's, although he's taking a bit of damage in that first round, he's looking solid.
Back into Gamrot's domain on the floor here, but Hooker's holding his own. He's not allowing Gamrot to get the chicks up here.
Yeah, as soon as the fight goes to the ground, you know, this Mateusz Gamrot's world for sure. You know, just seeing the scores come up on the screen, you know, a lot of people saying hard round to score. You know, a lot of people leaning Gamrot. I think maybe I got a tad excited with Hooker dropping him on the feet. I don't know, it was a tough one to score, but maybe Gamrot had the more moments. Maybe that was the case. But I think sorry, mate, carry on.
I was going to say I'll go 10-9 Gamrot. He dominated for a longer period of round. As good as that right hand was from Hooker, it was a more sustained period of dominance from Gamrot for me.
I think Mateusz Gamrot will be relieved. Just to paint the picture, guys, fight's on the floor right now. Gamrot obviously with top position. I think he's going to be relieved, and I think he wouldn't mind a full second round like this after, being badly hurt at the end of the first. I think that's kind of where Mateusz Gamrot wants to be right now.
He may not necessarily want to finish, but he knows if he spends 5 minutes with his weight on top of Hooker, it's going to tire him out massively and impact what he can do in the last round. Hooker looks like he's bleeding from behind his ear as well, so he's beat up. He's beat up here.
And then Gamrot's got his full body weight on Dan Hooker, just draining the energy from him as well. He's a really good offensive wrestler as well, Mateusz Gamrot. Yeah. The work that he'll be getting in ATT every day. That's arguably the best gym in the world. So much talent to train with day in, day out there.
Hooker looking for the stand-up here. And he's got it, but he can't separate from Gamrot at the moment. And he has managed to separate now.
Trying to use the cage, Dan Hooker, but Gamrot's just got that ideal position. Coming up on 2 minutes in the second round here, so we're over halfway through. Mateusz Gamrot versus Dan Hooker.
Gamrot hurt from a body shot there. Done a little dance around the cage.
Yeah.
Look, he's got the power in his hands here.
Dan Hooker looks very powerful tonight. He's got great power every night, I guess, to be honest with you. But yeah, Dan Hooker, it's an interesting fight because Gamrot is ahead, definitely, but Dan Hooker looks incredibly dangerous.
Gamrot's chin is there to be hit. His movement isn't what you expect it to be.
He really is, and he's gonna be tested and hit again before this fight's over. So let's see if he can stand up to this Dan Hooker.
Submission attempt from. Ooh.
Yeah, Dan Hooker, don't sleep on his jiu-jitsu either. He's got plenty of submissions in his career as well, Dan Hooker. But, just the feeling I'm getting right now is that Dan Hooker may need to stop Gamrot in the third and final round here to win this fight. But we'll see how the last little bit of the second round plays out here. Although they're not conclusive, these rounds. It's tough to say. It's not an easy one to score this. The Tai Tuivasa judge has probably got Dan Hooker 3-0 up after 2 rounds. the New Zealand judge who scored it the last fight 3-0 to Dan Hooker. Sorry, to Tai Tuivasa.
He's out the back smoking a cigar. He's already handed the scorecard in. He's done.
Yeah, his scorecard's pre-written.
Oh, I want to see that again. Did Gamrot just get dropped again by a short elbow?
Gamrot looks really vulnerable. Like, he's only been dropped, I think, in his UFC career before this by Beneil Dariush in his last defeat. But Dan Hooker looks like he's hurting him with almost everything he's throwing at him.
I'd like to see the end of the round again to see if Gamrot dropped for a takedown or did get dropped by that short elbow.
Gamrot definitely slowed to sit on his stool as well. I think he could have been hurt again at the end of that second round there.
But I think that elbow landed. I'm not 100%, but I think that elbow landed. I think that's what caused it. Just done a bit of lip reading. Hooker's just been asked by his corner if he's enjoying himself, and his reaction is to
Dan Hooker looks like he's having his life in there. Credit to him.
During the COVID lockdowns, you got to remember the sacrifices Hooker went through. He come back from fighting in Abu Dhabi and have to go through 6 weeks of quarantine for him to see his family again.
100%.
Which was
that is a great call.
If you don't do that once, fair enough. To do that 2, 3, I think he done it 4 times in the end where he put himself in that position.
Yeah, most definitely. Dan Hooker getting the crowd going as we.
Gamrot has a mouse on. So I just say Gamrot has a mouse forming underneath his right eye as well. Looks like that could close if it takes too much more damage.
Dan Hooker is having the time of his life in there. You gotta love that.
I have just 1 round apiece after 2. Not sure about you.
Yeah, so hard to say. I've got it 1 round.
So hard.
Yeah, I've got it 1 round apiece. I scored the first for Hooker, but I may have been wrong there. 13 if you're joining us. Thank you very much, guys. Hopefully we're trying to do our best here. We're keeping you up to date, whether you're watching it live or whether you are just relying on a bit of commentary from ourselves here. We've got the fight on the ground. Dan Hooker tried to go for a submission attempt, didn't he? But let us know how you score in the fight, guys, in the comments as well.
Gamrot is breathing with his mouth open here. He's tired. Yeah. This isn't. You can tell this isn't what he was expecting.
Yeah, Mateusz Gamrot's cardio is normally absolutely electric. The guy can go for days, but he definitely does look tired here. You just don't know with the travel and the time of day that they're fighting at, and so on and so forth. A lot of variables, can go into this kind of thing, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, for Hooker, it's just a 3-hour hop across from Auckland.
Whereas Dan Hooker kind of just walking him down.
Yeah.
Oh, guess what I've just seen? Howie Booth, the judge who scored the Tai Tuivasa fight 30-27, has been pulled from judging the co-main event between Steve Erceg and Kai Kara France. The judge who scored it 30-27 for Tai Tuivasa has been pulled from judging the co-main event, which I think is a good call. I'd imagine that's a Dana White UFC call rather than a commission call or whatever it may be. But
yeah, I was going to say
interaction here. Carlos Flores, thank you very much for joining us, Carlos. No, there's Dan Hooker against Gamrot is shortly finishing, and then you have the co-main event between Kai Kara France and Steve Erceg. So you can probably, around about 45 minutes time, I would say that the ring walks will be happening for Israel Adesanya and Dricus Du Plessis.
Just painting the picture so far for the third round. Gamrot hasn't been able to get Hooker to the ground for a sustained period of time. It's a fight on the feet. I'd say Hooker's having the better of the exchanges on the feet, mate. Not sure if you'd agree with that at this point.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lack of respect for what's coming back from Mateusz Gamrot from Dan Hooker.
Despite the state of his face as well, which is always the irony for me.
Yeah. You're very welcome, Carlos. Thank you very much for joining us. Are you watching the fight? Let us know if you are and how you score in Dan Hooker against Mateusz Gamrot.
Outstanding stand up there from Hooker. Fantastic.
It's around about 2 minutes left in this lightweight fight here. It's all to play for. Both men put in a solid performance so far. Especially Dan Hooker. I've been really impressed with Dan Hooker, actually. Oh, good right hand from Hooker. He really looks like he's hurting Gamrot every single time that he touches him, doesn't he?
He does.
Maybe he's turning into Charles Oliveira. Maybe the blonde hair and tattoos version of Dan Hooker he could be one of those mythical fighters.
Gamrot's right eye is completely shut now. I just imagine he's not seeing anything out of that.
Yeah. He could be like TRT Vitor or C-level Cain Velasquez. He could be one of those mythical fighters, blonde and tatted Dan Hooker. Yeah, approaching the last minute here, Gamrot trying to, look at that. You can't separate them really in the third round, 20-18 in terms of significant strikes. It's really about who wants to go and take the ball by the horns as we go to the last minute in this fight.
I'd say Hooker's got more left. Gamrot looks like he's just holding out for the belt at this point. His head's getting rocked back by shots from Hooker.
I'll tell you what, Dan Hooker can take a lot of heart from this fight and performance, regardless of whether he gets a decision or whether he doesn't. He's still a player at 155 pounds. I really don't understand why he went down to 145 a couple of years ago and fought Arnold Allen. He's a big, tall, he's a 6-footer. He should never be at 145.
Do you reckon he got told if you beat Allen there's a title shot there for you? And he wanted the title? That's the only thing I can think. It
was a weird fight, though. Dan Hooker's tough man. Like Arnold Allen's not a huge puncher either, so it was a strange one that. But yeah, approaching the final bell now, guys. Between Mateusz Gamrot and Dan Hooker, it was a really fun fight. That one, 3 rounds.
Big left hand on the bell from Hooker. Big left hand on the bell from Hooker.
I believe Dan Hooker could have done enough in that third round to win that fight. And the third round was a little bit. It was the worst round of the fight, in fairness, but Yeah, that was a good fight. Dan Hooker was right up for that, and he really enjoyed himself. Gamrot, again, like what did I say at the start of the fight, Lynn? You know, sometimes when you're fighting down the rankings and something's in front of you where, you know, people are probably in his ear telling him he's going to win easily all week. Dan Hooker's not on his level. And sometimes you just face a banana skin, and, you know, Mateusz Gamrot didn't perform to the best of his ability there, but Dan Hooker made sure that it was it was all because of Dan Hooker. Now, did Gamrot win the fight? You know, potentially. I don't know how I scored that fight. If I'm being completely honest with you, I think I had it 1-1 into the second, but that was a horrible fight to score. That was really, really close. So I think this could go either way. I really do think this could go either way.
Yeah, I had it 19 all going into this round. I can't split them. The other thing I will say, it looks as if Gamrot became disheartened during that fight. Like, okay, I've
yeah, the body language was all with Hooker, wasn't it? Everything about that.
I mean, going off of no commentaries, I'm not sure what we're hearing, but Gamrot pretty much, I took him to the ground, I've pieced him up.
Mm-hmm.
What, and he's still here? Almost looked by halfway through the second round, Gamrot was disheartened. Hooker's still bouncing around in front of him.
It's much easier to score the fight, I think, when obviously you don't have the commentary, because you can really be swayed by the commentators when you're scoring it just naturally. So yeah, we'll see who gets the decision shortly, but
we got no Joe Rogan tonight, but the Joe Rogan noises can often be a swaying factor.
Oh yeah. Don't get me wrong though, Izzy and DDP haven't come in yet. We've got quite an influx of people joined us now. We're up to around about 15, so thanks for tuning in, guys. Just a bit of news that have just came in. The judge who scored the fight 30-27 to Tai Tuivasa in the last fight, which was a ridiculous decision, has been pulled from judging the next fight between Kai Kara-France and Steve Erceg. Correct decision in my mind. We genuinely couldn't believe that scorecard when we saw it. And I'm sure everyone else couldn't either, judging by the reaction. But let's see who gets this nod here. Big upset in the 155-pound division. Big upset. You called it.
Called it by TKO. But that was...
Dan Hooker is back in contention. He gets a win over Mateusz Gamrot, the number 5 ranked lightweight in the world. That is a huge win for Dan Hooker. And you know what? You know, it was a tough fight to score, but, you know, credit to Dan Hooker. He went out there and performed really well in that one. He took the fight to Mateusz Gamrot the whole way. But yeah, banana skins, mate. There's banana skins out there for a lot of these fights. Dan Hooker's loving life.
Yeah. And this comes back to what I said as he was walking out. He was having the time of his life. He was fighting as close to home as he's going to get. Yeah.
So there's 29-28 either way. That was how close it was. I think 1 had it to Gamrot and then 2 had it to Hooker, 29-28. So you can't really get any closer than that. But we're saying it was a horrible fight to score that. Let us know in the comment section, guys. How did you score that one? Because that was a horrible fight to score, but a really good fight to watch.
It was a split decision again, so it'll be interesting to see the cards when we get to see them in a minute. It was a split.
Yeah, so 2 for Hooker, 29-28, and 1 for Gamrot, 29-28.
There you go. That tells you everything you need to know about this fight.
Yeah, very close. So Dan Hooker could very well be getting a number 5 by his name, potentially, because he just beat the number 5 in the world, Mateusz Gamrot, and that was a steady upset. You were looking at plus 320. It said on the broadcast before that on a Dan Hooker win there.
Who do you put Hooker in? Well, let's see what number he does have next to his name first.
Well, it's interesting because, you know, I can think of somebody straight off the bat who I think will be wanting a Dan Hooker fight. Are you gonna guess who I'm gonna say?
First person that came to my head was Charles Oliveira, but I'm not sure.
No, somebody who could probably think that they could beat him, but could really piggyback off the number and make themselves a player. I'll give you a clue. He's got long blonde hair.
Man, I'm stumped.
He's from Liverpool.
Paddy the Baddy. Yeah, there we go.
Paddy the Baddy against Dan Hooker. I believe that Paddy and his team would want that fight.
I tell you what, it shows how fluid the division is, because a lot of people were saying Dan Hooker's the fight for Paddy so he can get a number next to his name before he fought at 304. And now we're sitting here and Hooker's going to have the number 5 ranking. So, like you say, it'd be a fantastic way for Paddy to piggyback himself up.
Yeah, well, Paddy wants Moicano, doesn't he? But Moicano's fighting Benoit Saint-Denis. So, that's that. Unless Moicano wins that fight, then they could turn around quickly. But that's a tough fight. He's going to be an underdog against Saint-Denis for me.
I mean, Paddy said on his YouTube channel this week that he either wants to go at MSG or T-Mobile before the end of the year. So realistically, you're going to be looking at someone else. I think Hooker could, depending on how Hooker's cuts heal up, it could be Hooker.
That's interesting because Paddy was always outspoken about MSG fights because of the taxes in New York. He was always saying he didn't want to do it, but he fought on the last December card, didn't he, against Tony Ferguson?
That was T-Mobile, but the year before he was at MSG when he fought. Who did he fight when he injured his knee? I'll have to look now.
No, I don't think Paddy's ever fought in New York because he's been open about the tax situation over there. But yeah, I'm interested. I think Paddy and his team will look at a Dan Hooker fight because Dan Hooker's going to be ranked inside the top 5 or 6 after taking Gamrot. Leon, thanks for joining us. Leon, is Izzy fighting now? Izzy and Dricus Du Plessis will be on in the next fight. The co-main event between Kai Kara-France and Steve Erceg is coming up very shortly. So you're probably looking at around about half an hour to 45 minutes, depending on the length of this co-main event before Israel Adesanya and Dricus Du Plessis fight. So yeah, we'll keep you up to date with when the ring walks will be. But if I had to take a guess, I would probably say 45 minutes time.
I stand corrected on Paddy. When he fought Jared Gordon, it was in Vegas. I think Dana wanted to put it on the MSG bill, but it got pushed back to the Lahovic card at 282.
Yeah, that's right.
I think it was the plan to put it in New York, but like you say, Paddy has been outspoken on that. But at the same time, Paddy is getting himself now into a position where when fights are offered, there's bigger ramifications for him. So we can't afford to be saying
100%.
No. And as we've said many times with the UFC, you don't dictate to the UFC what you want to do, especially when you're on your way up. You take what you're given, and that's how it is, kind of thing. Until you reach that megastar status, that's when you can start dictating to the UFC. When you're a McGregor or John Jones, etc., that's when you can start making demands. But even then, they don't always come off, do they?
No, absolutely. But that's really interesting, that result. That because Gamrot's gonna, he's not going to be anywhere near title contention ever again. I would probably say he's going to have to go on a serious win streak if he is. But Dan Hooker, you just never know. You just never know with a sport, do you? There's always upsets. There's always things that go on. Gamrot probably didn't need to take that fight tonight. He'd probably taken it to just get one on the board and, just stay active or whatever it may be. And then there you go. Before you know it, you're losing to somebody who's way, way down to you. And, the only upside in that fight was for Dan Hooker tonight. There was no upside in that too.
Yeah, I mean, that fight was my sleeper of the night. I know we focused on the main event when we spoke earlier in the week, but for me, Gamrot Hooker was my sleeper of the night. I thought if there's going to be a fight that possibly goes completely against the grain for what everyone's saying, it would be that one for all the reasons we've just said. And yeah, Dan Hooker, as I said, he's a mad, crazy man, and he's just shown it again.
He's a lunatic.
With 90 seconds left of that first round, we're sort of saying, when's the finish going to come from Gamrot? Hooker's in all sorts of trouble, and he's not only stayed in the fight, he's won it and made Gamrot and troubled Gamrot multiple times just in the process.
Yeah, most definitely. So yeah, we've had 2 fights on so far on the stream. We've had 2 decisions. Let us know what you think, guys. Still got quite a few of you with us. Is there going to be? I would say that there's a decision coming in this co-main event personally, but Steve Erceg's got some power. he knocked out Matt Schnell with an absolutely bomb of a left hook in his fight before the last one. Obviously, he came up just short against Pantoja. They're just showing a replay of it now in May, which was a good performance. Steve Erceg's a good fighter. Kai Kara-France obviously has been very up and down. He was stopped by Moreno and he's lost to Albazi in his last fight as well. So he's on a 2-fight skid. He really needs to win this one. But yeah, I think Steve Erceg's going to get the job done here. I do. I think he's a little bit better than Kai Kara-France. I think he'll win a decision, but sometimes Kai can get reckless. You just don't know. I think Steve Erceg's power is underrated. He doesn't have too many knockouts on the record, but I think he can bang.
Yeah, I think Erceg is, like you say, the word underrated is what I'd use for Steve, definitely. It's another interesting fight. I'd be surprised if we see a finish in this one. I think it's probably a 15-minute decision, one way or the other.
Yeah, I'd favor
Erceg. I think he's on the better position. I think he's possibly fresher in his career as well. When you look at the two, I'd say he's the one more likely to have another title shot in him.
Yeah, it's rare for KKF as well because he's a New Zealander, Kara-France, but Steve Erceg's from Perth. He's actually a hometown guy tonight. So Kara-France normally would have the whole crowd on his side fighting in this kind of fight, but tonight he's probably going to have a good chunk of the crowd against him. So it should be interesting. This should be a good one. Australia versus New Zealand. There's a lot of pride at stake in this one. The flyweights, they normally tend to bring a lot of volume, a lot of action.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
So yeah, big win for City Kickboxing as well. Let's touch on in the last fight with Dan Hooker. Huge momentum for them into the co-main event and the main event. Obviously, they've got Kai Kara-France here, and then Israel Adesanya in the main event of the evening. Guys, let us know your predictions for Dricus Du Plessis versus Israel Adesanya, please, in the comments. We cannot wait for this one. This is realistically what we're watching for. Obviously, we love the other fights, enjoyed Tuivasa, even though there wasn't as much action as initially planned. The last fight with Dan Hooker and Mateusz Gamrot, really good fight, good action. But the big one, and the one I'm sure a lot of you are ready and waiting for, is the main event between Du Plessis and Adesanya. What a fight that's going to be.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
They love that left hook of Erceg on Matt Schnell. That's doing the rounds, that one. I saw Chris Curtis, UFC middleweight, earlier with he's having a laugh with Joaquin Buckley, saying about the UFC's editing team are just ruthless. As soon as you get a bad KO on your record and your opponent's fighting, you see it around everywhere for the next God knows how long. We've got Steve Erceg on his way out here.
The UFC marketing tool isn't afraid to make one of their fights look bad in the process, is it? They do what they need to do.
No one's immune, not even Conor McGregor. They're all in the firing line at some point. Yeah, this one should be on the way in the not too distant future. So what are you picking for this one then, Liam? Who you got winning? Erceg?
Erceg by decision for me.
That's 602 different people tuning into this stream so far, guys. Really appreciate that. That's great numbers.
Thank you very much, guys. Really appreciate it. Anyone that's watching in a moment, if you've got a prediction for this fight or the main event, let me and Sam know. We'll be happy to interact while we're sitting here watching.
Yeah, most definitely. I see Craig Jones has just defeated Gabby Garcia by submission, for anyone that's interested in that. Not really for myself, but Craig Jones is a interesting character, to say the least.
KTF looks in here. If you get a look at his eyes, mate, he's coming in here.
I love how he does the hacker at his face-offs.
Yeah,
he's an intense guy. Is Kai Kara France?
He is, and in the same way we just spoke about Hooker's UFC career potentially being on the line, Kara France is in a similar position. 2-fight slides, fighting as close to home as these Kiwis seem to get in recent times. Hasn't been a card in Auckland since 2019, obviously pre-pandemic now.
Yeah, they don't really go to New Zealand, do they? It's all about the Australian cards. That's what Dana's very meticulous in what he likes to do. And
I mean, I'm pretty sure there was a fight night for Auckland planned that got scrapped by COVID. I'm pretty sure that was something that was in the books, and obviously, like most other things, where it's just a market that's not there. Kara France will definitely want to use the momentum of watching his countryman Hooker cause an upset himself.
That's huge momentum for CKB, City Kickboxing, definitely,
without a doubt. And as you said yourself during the last fight, mate, you've got to love the UFC spacing. It was 4:47 when DC wraps up the interview with Hooker, and here we are 4:58, and we've got both fighters in the ring for the next fight.
Yeah, I absolutely love the pacing of the UFC.
It makes these all-nighters or early hours in the morning a bit more bearable for UFC, doesn't it? Because you know you're going to get something soon.
Most definitely. You're not waiting too long. Can't always be said for boxing. You can get 45 minutes to an hour in between some of those fights sometimes. Kai Kara France is wearing a nasty look on his face, isn't he? He's ready. He's coming for war here. So we've got the tail of the tape here. So Kai Kara France 31, Erceg 29. Even though 4-inch height advantage for Steve Erceg, Kai Kara France has got an inch reach on him, which is interesting.
He loves it, sticking his tongue out to the camera here, Kara France.
Yeah, he does. These Kiwis, they just love a fight, don't they?
Yeah. Erceg, I've always found Erceg a hard one to read, but I'm unsure if he's looking a bit tense, if he's possibly feeling the pressure here.
He's quite a cool customer, Steve Erceg.
Yeah, I've watching the Embedded this week. Very quiet, very one pace. Doesn't seem to get too swept away. But is he feeling? I could be reading too much into body language here, just with how buoyant Kara France is. But is he possibly feeling a bit of pressure?
It's quite a sizable favourite, Steve Erceg, in this one. Obviously, Kai Kara France has lost his last couple of fights, so do kind of get it in that respect. But Erceg hasn't been at the top of the sport or division for a long time. Yes, his last couple of performances have been very impressive, but KKF's been there or thereabouts for a long time. He's been fighting and winning big fights for a good few years now. He's kind of been Izzy's right-hand man whenever he's been headlining the shows in Australia and that kind of thing. So yeah, we'll see how this one pans out.
Just seeing a few quotes from the Dan Hooker interview in the Octagon. First thing he came out with, "I love this shit." Before DC could even answer a question, that was his first thing, which just sums the man up as we move into this co-main here from 305.
Yeah, he certainly does. Ridge Mitchell's in good shape. Fair play to him. He might have to be to keep these two off each other for a while. But yeah, we'll see. Let's go, Dan. Dan Hooker. Still thinking about Dan Hooker and Gamrot. Steve Erceg and Kai Kara France underway in Perth. Co-main event is underway. Next fight of the night will be Israel Adesanya and Dricus Du Plessis. For those wondering.
Nothing of any significance landed through 30 seconds, but both fighters on the front foot, just looking to gain a bit of supremacy here.
Bit of feeling out going on to start this one out.
KKF let his hands go there, just grazing Erceg with a right hand. But nothing of any note landing so far in the first minute from either fighter.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for joining us, guys. We've been going for a good bit over an hour now. There's been a consistent flow of people watching with us, so we appreciate it. Let us know your thoughts. Ask us any questions. We'll try and keep you up to date with how we're scoring it. But, you know, we're really just building up now to the main event of the evening. DDP, Dricus Du Plessis defending against Israel Adesanya in one of the biggest fights of the year so far. Not too much happening so far in the first few minutes of Kai Kara-France and Steve Erceg. Good right hand over the top by Kai.
Both fighters on the front foot here, neither one's looking to take a back step out.
Yeah, no one's willing to give an inch here. They both want the centre of that octagon, most definitely. Erceg standing really tall. Be nice to see a stoppage, wouldn't it? It'd be nice to just get the juices flowing a little bit. Saying that in the Dan Hooker and Gamrot fight, it almost felt like there was a stoppage, even though there obviously wasn't. Good shot there by Steve Erceg.
Good reply. Good.
Yeah, nice.
Good combination from KK.
Not too much happening so far during this one, but Kai Kara-France narrowly missed with a huge left hook. Yeah, caught him with that one though. KKF comfortable in the pocket so far. Oh, nice slip and counter there from Steve Erceg. That was nice.
Both fighters starting to get comfortable here, starting to find their range, aren't they? Not that they're having to go looking for each other, they are.
Yeah, no, definitely. There's no hint of that for sure.
They are stalking each other across this octagon without a shadow of a doubt.
Oh, that's a beautiful combination by Steve Erceg. Kai Kara-France just leaned in too much, and then Steve Erceg just made him pay on the way in.
Nice leg kick from KKF, but responded with punches from Erceg.
Mm-hmm.
Both men opening up, neither leaving anything to chance so far through this first round.
Yeah, not too much separating the two fighters so far. No real moments of significance. You know, decent enough action, but nothing overly significant. Oh, Kai Kara-France absolutely nailed Steve Erceg. Oh my God, it's done. It is done. Kai Kara-France absolutely lays out Steve Erceg. He caught him with a huge shot over the top, and then he followed up with punches. Wow, what a win and finish for Kai Kara-France as a decent sized underdog in that. That was a huge shot and follow up. You know, credit to Kai Kara-France there. We've got a first round KO in a fight that, you know, many of us thought would go the distance. Just a reminder, Izzy and DDP will be following this very shortly. So not too long now, probably in the next 10 to 15 minutes, we'll have the first bell in Israel Adesanya versus Dricus Du Plessis. But what a finish by Kai Kara-France that was. The left hand. Boom.
The left hand that dropped him initially was fantastic. Set up with the lead right.
Oh, that was clean.
These Kiwis with their careers potentially on the line, man. Both of them delivered now tonight.
Well, Israel Adesanya, no pressure because your teammates as huge underdogs have both come out and performed at an unbelievable level, and they were both really decent sized underdogs as well. There, Kai Kara-France and Dan Hooker. City Kickboxing having a night in the last 2 fights, but that was seriously impressive. You got a bonus coming there, Kai Kara-France.
Good stoppage from the ref as well. Erceg acknowledged it as he got back to his feet.
Erceg knew.
Yeah, it's the first thing he did was nod his head.
Yeah. Well, that's
we did say, didn't we? We did say Erceg's body language just didn't seem right, did it? When we were looking at him before the fight, obviously.
Yeah, no.
KKF was fired up.
Fighting at home, in his hometown.
KKF was fired up. It's never a good thing to always be fired up, but he's channeled that energy in the right way, and he's
most definitely. That was seriously impressive from Kai Kara-France.
That's a signature win for his career for me.
Yeah, 100%.
And hey, we know how Dana works. If you can do something impressive and it draws people in, it gets people talking about you, then you move on, you get the shots, especially in these lower weight divisions as well. It's how it works. It's not the same depth and pool of fighters as we're seeing further up, is there?
Kai Kara-France could be getting back in line for that flyweight championship. I think Albazi's probably deserving of a title fight next. If I'm being honest, he beat Kara-France in their last fight, so he shouldn't leapfrog him, in my opinion. But KKF is definitely right back in the mix now.
That was for people not watching, not seeing the graphics we're seeing. That was Kara-France's 13th first round stoppage of his career, and he's now tied 5th
for a 125er as well. That's seriously impressive.
And he's now tied 5th for finishes as a 125er in UFC history as well. So
that was clean. We needed that. We needed that after 2 decisions, saying that Hooker Gamrot is probably nailed on to win fight of the night. I think you'll do well to get a fight better than that tonight, but Kai Kara-France is definitely getting a bonus for that. That was a really incredible performance.
Just as they're playing the replays again of this finish.
Yeah, he didn't Steve Erceg thought the attack was over, and Kara-France just looped that left hand over the top, and then it's the ones you don't see coming.
It's exactly that. He was going back with his hands down, wasn't he? Chin slightly up in the air. It was almost as if he was inviting Kara-France to try and land something.
100%.
Deceptive reach for such a small fella as well. Like Kara-France has shown there, because you wouldn't exactly say he's in range, would you? He just found a way to. But there we go, guys. The rest of the main card is over. 4 fights down. Just the fight of the year that has had us boys so excited all week left to come. Cannot wait for this one as we touch 5:10 in the morning here in the UK.
Yeah, not long to go at all. The undercard is done. Only thing left to see is who will be the King of Africa in the main event of the evening. Just popping out for 2 seconds, Lou.
Yeah, all good, man. If you're on the stream, guys, drop a comment. Let us know what you're thinking ahead of this main event. Is the excitement levels as high as it has been for me and Sam all week? You back in Dricus to retain his title? Do you think Izzy's going to come back and deliver a career best performance? Let us know your thoughts. And if you're not already, make sure you drop in SW Fight Hub a follow on both Twitter and YouTube. Sam definitely appreciates all the subscribers. So please do drop him a follow if you have not done so already. Some finished out from KKF, just sitting here thinking back about it whilst we wait for the main event. In a fight you're an underdog in a fight where both me and Sam and a lot of people during the week says we expected it to be a finish, expected it to go the distance, to get a finish like that in the first round. Absolutely outstanding. Yeah,
credit to Kai Kara-France. That was incredibly impressive. Yeah. So we are here. Israel Adesanya, Dricus Du Plessis.
Here we go.
Let's set the stage. For me, I know we spoke about it in the week. I think I'm going to get a career best performance from Israel Adesanya here. I really do. think he's going to relish being. He's not an underdog; it's a pick 'em, but there's a lot of people doubting him here. There's been a lot of noise in fight week. There's a lot going on, a lot leading into this one. It's going to be incredibly interesting, but just Dricus Du Plessis, he just knows how to win. He knows how to win fights. That's what he does. That's what he does. So yeah, what do you think, mate?
Mate, it's exactly what we said in the week. Exactly what we've been saying to each other every time we had a conversation. This fight can't not deliver. Like you said, it's a pick 'em with the bookies, but Izzy probably will feel like an underdog coming into this. He probably will feel like he's got a point to prove. The last time he fought, he was 2-3 levels below the standards he set himself over the last 2-3 years in the UFC, and it was such a drop off. I think that's what surprised people most. Not the fact that he lost, but the level of the defeat, how far off his level that we've seen for so long he was. And that was, for me, the most shocking thing. It wasn't that he just got...
Yeah, definitely. I think you can liken the Israel Adesanya performance against Sean Strickland to the way Gamrot and Dan Hooker just went down. I think sometimes you just overlook somebody, or you're just not... The level of fear is not there, or that kind of, some people need a bit of fear, and the need to feel like they're the underdog, or the need to feel that kind of, it brings out the best in people. It brings out the worst in some. It brings out the best in others. I'm convinced Israel Adesanya is one of the people that needs to be, wrote off, or have a bit of fear in him. We saw that in the Alex Pereira fights. He looked comfortable in both of those fights. I know he got stopped in the last round in the first one, but he was up on the cards. And then in the second one, he kind of roped out Poatan into the finish. Obviously Kelvin Gastelum, he went through hell with Kelvin Gastelum in a fight of the year. People said Robert Whittaker's going to be too good. He's not going to do anything, and he just laid Robert Whittaker out in this very arena. I think it may have been. So it's I believe also the Sean Strickland fight was in this arena as well. So there's a lot of demons to be exercised here for Israel Adesanya.
I completely agree with you, mate. And I think we said it in the week. I know Jason said it as well. The emotional levels as well that Izzy was going to in his fights before Strickland's, was that also a factor in his drop off? He is emotionally invested in this fight. We can't say he's not. We've seen,
Dricus is emotionally invested for sure.
Dricus is 2-0, making opponents cry at press conferences this year, which is, we're having a bit of fun with that. I said during the week the improvement of Dricus from where he was when he came into the UFC.
Definitely.
I mean, he was a fighter you put on the undercards of fight nights from the prelims of pay-per-views, and he'd always win, but he'd never do enough to set the world on fire, would he? And then he's come into his own with the run, the way he dealt with Robert. No one's done that to Robert. It's just come up on my screen here. No one's dealt with Robert like that other than Izzy the first time rounds.
No, the way he dealt with Sean was seriously impressive. It really was.
How he dealt with Sean Strickland. No one, he spent 25 minutes dominating Sean Strickland. You could argue Strickland didn't win a moment of the fight back in January, which is, how many people have done that to Sean Strickland? So, I mean, if you compare it to Izzy maybe got a round off of Strickland, didn't he? If we're being generous.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. It was a complete domination.
So there are a lot of variables to this fight.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, you can't look past those at all.
Just showing Israel Adesanya finishing Alex Pereira.
So just looking back over Izzy's record when he fought at home in Australasia. The defeat to Strickland was in New South Wales. All his other victories in Australia have come in Melbourne. So when he beat Robert Whittaker at the Marble Stadium, everything else has come in Melbourne. So this is his first time headlining in Perth. Headlining in Perth for him, and his one sole defeat was last time out in New South Wales. So you have to say that's a good record. Good record to have. You'll feel. He's as comfortable fighting in America as he is at home. You can't say he favours fighting in Australasia at all, but home comforts in a fight like this where you are possibly the underdog, could will help.
Mm-hmm. So the fighters are on their way to the octagon. Dricus Du Plessis and Israel Adesanya is about to go down.
Not sure if you just saw that. You see Mark Goddard's little bounce step and clap as he went into the octagon. he's as pumped.
Yeah, Mark Goddard's an MMA fan. He loves it.
He does. He's someone I'd love to sit down, have a beer with, and chat for MMA.
Yeah, definitely.
If I could ever, I could spend an hour in a pub with one person in MMA. I think Goddard's quite high up that list just for the sheer knowledge he can impart on you as well.
Yeah, he's refereed a lot of Israel Adesanya's fights, Mark Goddard.
The first, famously, Adesanya wasn't happy with him. Wasn't happy with him after the Pereira loss, was he?
Yeah, definitely. I believe he refereed the Kelvin Gastelum fight as well, where he gave Gastelum every chance to continue towards the end of it. When he had him basically out towards the end of the fight.
He gave Gastelum the rope, didn't he? He gave him enough time. Izzy's wasted no time getting out here.
Yeah, no, he's ready. He's been ready all week. I think he would have fought last night if it was an option. Yeah, so we're probably about 5 minutes away from the opening of Dricus Du Plessis and Israel Adesanya.
We've only seen 2 title fight finishes since the Gold Gloves come in. One was Alex Pereira.
Yeah, there haven't been many generals ever.
No, but with the Gold Gloves as well, Tommy Aspinall and Alex Pereira are the only 2 fighters to get finishes wearing those.
Yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think we're going to get a finish in this one tonight.
That's exactly what my next statement was going to be. I'm seeing a finish. Again, big thanks to everyone that's on the stream here. Can't see what the numbers are, but if anyone that is here with us, we appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate it. We've had close to 1,000 have joined us throughout. Obviously, most of them come and go, but we do appreciate everybody who's come and watched along with us so far. We've done 3 fights so far, 2 fantastic ones, one not so good, but this main event here is why we're all here. This is going to seriously deliver.
Guys, when you do leave the stream, make sure you're giving Sam's channel a follow for all your boxing and UFC content. They're coming on nearly a daily basis, so if you don't want to miss out on anything that this guy's putting out there.
Appreciate it, mate. Is he in the octagon then? Dricus Du Plessis on the way.
As the arena goes dark for Dricus. They build it up like no other the UFC, don't they?
Yeah, they really do.
I can get a spot on. As it is touching 5:20 in the morning in the UK, it is 12:20 Sunday lunchtime in Perth. So
yeah, early morning session for the Aussies today.
Just would have carried on from last night, mate. Just would have topped themselves up.
DC was saying on the broadcast earlier that he was picked up at 5 a.m. and he felt surprisingly fresh. So big up DC.
He was saying similar stuff. So for a bit of context for people watching this, Ebed Etzebeth and Sia Khaleesi. So Sia Khaleesi is the South African rugby captain, two-time World Cup winner, along with Ebed Etzebeth. They're both walking out with Dricus here. Wow. Boxer in the house, giving support to Izzy. That's two of rugby's biggest global superstars there walking out of them as well. So
you don't see that too often during UFC walkouts where they have, people with them. So that's cool.
You don't, Sorry, mate. As soon as I saw him, that's rugby is one of my passions. So yeah,
they look like Dricus bodyguards on the way to the octagon.
Ebed Etzebeth can take care of himself. There's a good compilation of him on YouTube where he outside of the rules of rugby handles himself. So he would definitely be handy in an octagon, I reckon. The one on the left-hand side, Evan.
Tough men, very tough men, the South Africans.
Dricus taking his time a bit more, but there's a big smile on his face. He's relaxed. He's ready for this, isn't he?
Yeah, this is his moment. He's been working his whole life for this. Obviously, you say that about the Strickland fight, but this is a big pay-per-view. This isn't the same pay-per-view that he headlined Sean Strickland against. This is a huge fight.
If Dricus wins this, then he is now forming his own legacy. As a middleweight, he's dealt with the last legacy. Okay, you can talk about Pereira, but Pereira's going to stay up a light heavy, maybe even look to go heavy. Dricus knows if he wins this could be the start of his legacy for the middleweight division, which is something he's spoken about quite candidly in the build-up to this fight.
Yeah, and there's so much on the line here. These guys have been going back and forth for a hell of a long time. There are huge bragging rights on the line here. I'll be very interested to see whichever way the result goes, what the kind of reaction is for both fighters between each other at the end, whether it would be amicable or whether it won't be. Or...
Personally, I think if there's going to be a negative reaction, I see it coming from Dricus. I think Izzy has always been full of respect, even in the 2 losses we've seen him have in the UFC. Okay, the stakes weren't as high, but even against Pereira, he still took the time to show he respects Pereira.
Yeah.
In what was a very late stoppage in a fight that we had Adesanya winning with about 2 minutes left, wasn't there, at that time?
Yeah, there wasn't long left whatsoever. There's a lot of really good camaraderie between Du Plessis and his team. You can see there's real trust there. They believe in each other. They believe in the game plan. They're ready. Looks in incredible shape.
Ooh. Okay. Dricus danced his way around the cage there.
Yeah, just letting him know.
Yeah. Izzy laser focused, eyes across the cage here, not blinking, not missing a beat as Bruce Buffer starts his introductions, I would assume, with no sound. Tail of the tape up now. So for anyone not watching, Dricus is 30, Izzy's 35. Izzy is the taller man by 3 inches and has a 4-inch reach advantage in this fight. Weight was pretty much identical, and it is exactly a pick 'em, can't be separated. -110 apiece.
That is as close as it gets.
You don't get many title fight main events in the UFC that are pick-ems.
Complete pick-ems.
And legitimately pick-ems. We've bounced around all sorts of scenarios for this fight during the week, haven't we, mate? Along with Jason as well.
Yeah.
I think we've all bounced around 3 or 4 different scenarios, haven't we?
Most definitely. So let us know your predictions, guys. I think Israel Adesanya wins by knockout in the 3rd or 4th round in this one. What do you think, Liam?
Stick with what I said on the preview at the start of the week. I think Izzy will put on a performance and get a stoppage in the second half of the fight. Absolutely.
2 picks for Israel Adesanya here. Let us know anyone picking DDP. I'm sure there's plenty of people out there picking DDP. I've seen lots of them around. So Israel Adesanya just looks stoic, just still.
I'm just laughing at Mark Goddard up against the back of the cage, leaning against it. He's just like a fan, isn't he? He's the luckiest man in the world right now.
He's just got the front row seat, doesn't he, Mark Goddard?
He does. Dricus smiling back across the cage at Izzy here. He's not phased. He's showing him that he's...
Yeah, both men are ready, aren't they? Both men know what time it is.
Izzy has not blinked and has not moved since Dricus got in that cage. He has been in that position you're seeing him in now.
He's actually doing what his old rival Alex Pereira likes to do. Just stay there, just dead still. Israel Adesanya has not moved. I'm not so sure I like that out of Izzy, if I'm being honest, but
he's bouncing around a bit now, but yes, it's a very different approach, isn't it, for Izzy?
Yeah, he's really emotionally invested here as he is. So yeah, anyone joining us, guys, that isn't watching, we are moments away from Dricus Du Plessis and Israel Adesanya throwing down huge stakes at middleweight.
I will say this: Izzy perhaps looks more emotionally invested against Pereira. Looking at him here, which I didn't think was possible.
For sure.
He is, yeah, he's fired up, isn't he?
Yeah, without question. DDP being introduced, and then we are going to be on the way in Perth.
Are we going to get a touch of gloves, Sam? That's the thing.
I don't believe we get a touch.
I don't think we do.
You think we'll get
I love about. No, I don't think we do. It's another thing I love about UFC. I love the fact the choice is there for the fighters. They don't have to do it.
Or DDP staring right into Izzy before the fight. The stage is set now. The stage is set. This is why we love it.
We got touch. We got wrong. We got touch. We got that wrong.
Interesting. Talking. I want to have a moment like they both know they're about to find out. So
I want to have a moment like Jason did on our boxing watch along earlier. I think just so I can clip it back. I think this is going to be special. Whatever happens here,
yeah, most definitely,
incredibly special.
Yeah. Anyone joining us? We're about to go down. Israel Adesanya challenging Dricus Du Plessis for the Middleweight Championship. It is on.
High guard from Dricus early on here. Is he with his ranging left hand just looking to find a range early on here? Dricus tentative on the back foot. Is he more of a bounce step moving forward so far? Nothing landed from even fighter.
Going to be really interested to see how Dricus Du Plessis deals with the length of Adesanya as the fight goes on. Izzy's just so comfortable.
We've seen Izzy confuse and bamboozle opponents with the way he's able to use his range as well. And if that wasn't become a factor in this fight.
Izzy commanding the centre of the octagon early doors.
Holding his hands low. Dricus just rushed in with a high guard there, but nothing landed. Inside leg kick followed up with a straight right hand from Dricus.
It's fascinating how cool, calm, and collected both men looked before this. You know, are we going to get a chess match? I don't see it being a war, if I'm being honest. I just don't see it going that way. But we will find out as things play out. Try and keep you up to date with how things are going, guys. Is he taking the centre of the octagon fairly early on in this one? Dricus has rushed in a couple of times, but not too much. Oh, nice little shin by Adesanya there.
Both seem to be respectful of what the other's power is so far. Neither of them wanting to get iced early on in this fight, are they?
Izzy's definitely commanding the centre of the octagon, but Dricus is kind of rushing in. Is he going to be there to be picked off by Izzy? I guess we'll find out. Dricus using a lot of kicks early. Not really any intent or power behind them, but just ways to kind of move within range, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, I do wonder if he's possibly struggling with, like as we just mentioned, is his limbs and how long they are.
Yeah.
Do you wonder if he's just fallen into Izzy here? He's just lost, and he's cut above his right eye. There is blood coming from Dricus Du Plessis with 2 minutes remaining of this first round.
Interesting.
I do think that came from a head clash though when he fell into Izzy as opposed to when he punches.
Yeah, no doubt.
And the cut, isn't it?
We'll find out.
Cutting. Yeah. And the cut isn't in a place that should cause too much trouble. It is above the eyebrow.
Du Plessis is not afraid to rush in. You know, he is rushing with his attacks, but you know, if you can connect coming in, like he's backing himself and he's confident that he can take. Because Israel Adesanya is a sniper, you have to remember that. You know, if you're going to rush in, bull rush, then he's not really the guy to be doing that with. Lovely body kick by Izzy.
Patient approach from Izzy here, which is good to see. He's not looking to Rush's work, doesn't seem to have any demons from the Strickland fighting, and he seems to be able to treat this how he should. With a minute to go here in the first round, good punch just landed from Dricus over the top. Izzy responds in kind. Dricus is cut over his left eye. But as we've both already said, the blood doesn't look like it's going to be running down into his eye at this point, so it shouldn't affect his vision too much at this stage.
Dricus looks when he's rushing in. Don't know if is he pulling back a little bit with his chin in the air? You know, they've identified that, I think, in the Dricus Du Plessis camp. But like he's able to get himself within range that way. He moves really quickly.
Yeah. Dricus is in a very high, almost boxer-like stance, whereas Izzy is hands down by his waist. He can get them up quickly, but he's still being caught here with punches he probably wouldn't want to be taken in the first round of a fight like this. Dricus comes forward again as we reach the bell. Dricus
is really looking for that left high kick, isn't he? He's really trying to get that left high kick going. It's a beautiful body shot. Adesanya.
Narrowly missed with it on the bell there, Dricus.
Yeah, Izzy with a good body shot, about 20 seconds to go in the round it was. I don't know, really. There wasn't a hell of a lot of action in that first round, or like strong action to say. There was good action. Both men threw plenty. Tough one to score.
Yeah.
Just anybody watching along, let us know your scores through the first round. I would maybe edge it to Adesanya, but again, not really a hell of a lot. I think that could have gone either way, to be honest.
Just painting the picture for those that are relying on us for it. Izzy stood between rounds. Dricus sat down in the stall with a smile on his face. There's a slight nick on his nose. Slight nick on his nose as well. So working on two places.
There's always question marks on Du Plessis' cardio, but he had an operation on his nose, I think, before the Sean Strickland fight. He managed the 5 rounds really well there. So, you'd have to think that this fight will be going into the deeper rounds based on what we saw in the first round, unless one of them leaves a big opening, but I doubt that happens somehow. So it could be in for the long haul here.
Dricus went for a touch of gloves at the start of the second round. It's ignored by Izzy. If you watch it back, you just put the head down.
Couldn't imagine Izzy will be after doing that more than once. DDP really fancies himself, though. He's such a confident fighter. You can tell the man's won 10 in a row or whatever it is. 8 in a row. Yeah, a lot of the cards coming in on their broadcast seem to be 10-9. Adesanya, there's one for DDP. So yeah, tough one to score. Definitely could have gone either way that round. I don't think any of them really stood out too much from the action. Izzy switching stances. Try and confuse DDP a little. Oh, beautiful takedown by Dricus Du Plessis. Izzy back on his feet though. Oh, DDP trying to get him back down. Got the back a little bit. Let's see what Izzy can do here.
Not a position Izzy wants to be in here. He is against the cage, granted.
Du Plessis he is on top though.
Looking for a submission now. He's got him. Oh, good from Izzy. Good defense from Izzy there.
Yeah, Izzy's underrated in his grappling defense, but this isn't a good position for Adesanya at all. Oh, that's beautiful from Israel Adesanya to get out of that. That was a bit of a trying situation at one point there. Izzy coming back on the front foot. Oh, a bit of a low one, was it? But Du Plessis happy to carry on. Du Plessis blowing a little bit. Oh, heating up now in second.
Both men looking comfortable here.
Yeah, is he definitely becoming more aggressive? DDP looking a little bit sloppier. Oh, he's fancying himself on the feet here.
Dricus looking to get it back to the ground where he had momentary success earlier in this round.
Yeah, Izzy slipped there, and he was just as he was kind of getting comfortable on the feet and in the pocket, he slipped, and unfortunately for him, DDP gets it to a more comfortable position. So Izzy definitely was letting his hands go a little bit more.
Sorry, mate.
Yeah, so coming up 2 minutes now in the second round left to go. Dricus Du Plessis, just to paint the picture, is kind of on top is probably an overstatement, but he's leading the grappling exchanges in this second round. He had Adesanya a few submission attempts at the start of the round, but Izzy did really well to get out of them, then came back to on the feet a little bit more, which Izzy definitely looked the more dangerous guy, but Du Plessis has kind of had this advantage in the just a bit of grappling going on, isn't it, really, up against the cage? It's not really a great deal of action going on right now, hence, not too much commentary going on.
I would say this is where
he was welcome for the rest at that point.
Yeah, I also think this is where Dricus wants the fight to be. As if he's at range and he's letting Izzy bounce around and try and put him into positions, he's going to struggle more. He needs to keep this fight in close quarters. The grappling on the floor, definitely. But as we said, Izzy's ground game is underrated. He is solid on the ground. So I would say the advantage does with DDP, especially from what we've seen so far.
DDP did look like he was blowing a bit earlier in this round. I don't know if I was looking into it a little bit too much, but we'll see. He's using a lot of energy trying to take Izzy down, and in the grappling exchanges, Izzy does look a little bit fresher. Oh, it's a good takedown. Izzy defended it well.
I wouldn't say this would be the game plan I'd expect from Dricus. He's expanding a lot more energy than perhaps he'd want to after 2 rounds for me.
Yeah. You probably have to say that was a Du Plessis round, I would say. He kind of had the submission attempts. Didn't see a whole deal too much after that, but again, close enough fight to score through 2 rounds as expected.
Looking at Dricus on his stool here, he's leaning forward, mouth open. Izzy standing up, doesn't look like he's breathing heavy at all at this point.
Yeah, Izzy looks very relaxed. He looks in a bit of a better place than Dricus, it has to be said, in between the rounds here.
Dricus has expanded more energy definitely through 2 rounds. He put a lot of effort into some takedowns and groundwork in that second round, and perhaps didn't get the change he was expecting from it. For me, got it 1 round apiece. Got it 1 round apiece after 2.
Yeah, I think one round apiece is fair. Don't think either man is on top in this one at all. I think Izzy started to gain quite a bit of confidence on the feet at one point. That Du Plessis was very close to locking in a choke there, rear naked choke.
Yeah,
Izzy did really well to just sneak out the back there. Round 3 is underway anyway. UFC Middleweight Championship, UFC 305 main event in Perth. Du Plessis versus Adesanya. Thanks to those who are joining us. Let us know how you're seeing the fight, how you're scoring it.
Adesanya with some leg kicks at the start of this third round, so perhaps looking to slow Dricus down further.
Yeah, Du Plessis is wearing it a lot more than Israel Adesanya is so far, but that doesn't necessarily mean too much. But
I'd say Izzy's still first, second gear here. Dricus is moving through the gears at a quicker rate so far. Which again isn't necessarily a bad thing, but that could play a factor if we go into deep into the 4th and 5th with cardio.
There's going to be some party tonight in Perth if Israel Adesanya can win this with the City Kickboxing boys, Cara France and Dan Hocker coming good as big underdogs earlier on in the night. Oh, some great body work by Israel. Dricus, a little bit rushing in with not too much going on there. Is he able to telegraph? Good right hand over the top from Du Plessis, but no real venom behind it. Israel's looking confident, isn't
he? Yeah,
he's right in the middle of that octagon. And
is he looks like
dictating the pace, isn't he?
Again. Yeah. Izzy's leading the dance at the moment. Dricus is dancing to his tune. He needs to do something to arrest the slide for me. Yeah. Momentum's all with Izzy as we touch 3 minutes to go in round number 3 here in this UFC 305 main event. Excuse me.
Oh, that sneaky head kick by Du Plessis. He's always trying to get it in, but I don't know if it's just a little bit slow and Izzy can telegraph it coming. But yeah, we're approaching the halfway stage here of the main event. It's been close, but I would say Israel Adesanya is probably going to be feeling the better of the two fighters at the halfway stage.
Oh, just missing with an elbow there, Israel Adesanya.
Yeah, Dricus is getting closer himself, definitely.
He's not throwing enough on the way in for me to throw Izzy off there. He's getting in closer, but he's not doing anything to attract Izzy's attention, is he?
Yeah, no, Izzy's ripping the right hand to the body as well. Israel Adesanya looks locked in tonight. Was a good left hand by DDP.
Shaking the head from Izzy as if to say.
I think momentarily wobbled, is he? Yeah, is he on the back foot a little bit? Is he on the back foot a little bit for the first time in the fight? Momentarily. Du Plessis throwing some big combinations, rushing forward. Izzy shakes the head. DDP going for a takedown again. But DDP definitely having some bigger moments in this third round.
Good spell for DDP here. He's starting to find his range again, isn't he?
Is he some encouragement for the South African here? Oh, DDP is a flash knockdown, but DDP has Adesanya on the floor. Not too. Is he not hurt or anything? He's bounced straight back up. But I'm surprised that he's landing so much here, Du Plessis, because they do look quite slow, the punches coming in, but Izzy just wasn't able to get out of the way of that kind of combination. He looks really sloppy, Du Plessis coming in, but
Izzy is now just sitting in the. Sorry, Izzy is now just sitting in the pocket. He's not bouncing back and looking to pick him off at range, is he?
It was an official knockdown, that for sure. Du Plessis did. Izzy wasn't hurt or anything, you know. Wasn't as big a knockdown as Sean Strickland. But they're exchanging now. Under a minute to go in the third, and the guys are in the middle of the octagon.
The fight we expected to see is playing out here.
Yeah. You have to say a better third round for Dricus Du Plessis here. Or some beautiful body work by Adesanya, just ripped two right left to the body. Du Plessis with those like looping shots, and you know the stats back up at Israel Adesanya winning the third round, but Dricus has had the knockdown. He's had the moment really that could sway the judges. You know, just leaps in with them shots, doesn't he, DDP? You know, this goes the distance. It could be another horror fight to score.
I'm not a fan of the way Dricus is coming in, though. He is leaving himself horribly open. He's coming in a very reckless, very sloppy, isn't he?
He's so unorthodox, Du Plessis. It's, you know, that was a good round. That was really interesting. We're into the championship rounds now, rounds 4 and rounds 5. This is going to be a battle of attrition here. We're going to see how that DDP cardio is going to be holding up. Yeah, there's a lot going on here.
I would say so. DDP has always been unorthodox and reckless, but it seems on a slightly higher level tonight. It seems to be taking more chances without setting traps, as opposed to how we saw him fight against Sean Strickland and Robert Whittaker. Yeah, if I'm making any sense at this point.
Yeah, most definitely. No, we've had 1,200 viewers join in so far throughout the night, so really appreciate that, guys. Trying to keep you up to date as much as we can for the main event of UFC 305. It's just about to enter the fourth round, from what I can see. Dricus Du Plessis wearing it a little bit more than Israel Adesanya, who looks just glaring through DDP's soul right here, just standing still.
Yeah. As we touched the 2-hour mark on the stream as well, mate. So thank you, like you say, thank you to everyone that's joined us for this main card.
Yeah, we're getting the fun bit to talk here, so thanks for watching and tuning in. So yeah, round 4's underway. He's got the center of the octagon again. Pretty much the story of the fight so far. DDP with some good leg kicks.
Is he looking the fresher fighter? He's still got that springless step. Du Plessis markedly.
Yeah.
DDP's markedly slower than he was in round number 1, isn't he?
Yeah, he's definitely slowed down a lot. His punches, although he dropped his flash knockdown in the last round, it seems to be telegraphing them more. I would expect Izzy to try and mount some serious attacks in this round, because he's not running away with the fight. The fight is close.
I maintain Izzy's still just pushing through second gear now, whereas Dricus has worked through all his gears already for me.
Yeah,
this is comfortable for Israel Adesanya. If he wants to do 25 minutes like this, he can at this pace. 100%.
Beautiful kick to the body. Yeah,
96% accuracy on body strikes for Israel Adesanya. That's the story in itself, as we're into the fourth round here, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Just can't miss that midsection of Dricus Du Plessis.
Yeah, he's fighting a good fight. Using every bit of the odds. Oh, good effort from DDP. He did see it coming and got out of the way in the end. But if that one lands, DDP still got power in those hands. We know what he can do. But Izzy, just echoing what Liam was saying, Izzy does look the more comfortable fighter in the octagon right now. He looks like he might have another gear to go up if required. He looks comfortable. He looks loose. Good body kick by DDP though. Kind of just approaching the 245 I can see here in the fourth round. Body kick from Dricus Du Plessis.
This is, like I said in the last round, this is Izzy's dance. Du Plessis is dancing to his tune at the moment. Yeah. Izzy's dictating the pace, how it goes, what happens.
Du Plessis trying to respond, isn't he? But Izzy's leading the dance, definitely. I mean,
the fresher fighter by far is the challenger. Is the number 2 ranked middleweight in the world.
Definitely. Izzy's the story of the fight has been some of that body work from Israel Adesanya. He's really ripping hooks to the body. Oh, DDP chasing him around a little bit. No, not really hurt or anything. Inside 2 minutes then of the fourth round. The fight's still in the balance. It's still up for grabs without question. Oh, Izzy fell over, but was more of a slip than anything. Oh, wow. Out of nowhere, Dricus Du Plessis taps Israel Adesanya. Can you believe it? Izzy slipped and he got it. He was ahead in the fight and still out of absolutely nowhere. Wow.
We said Dricus was still
how to win.
We said it would take.
Dricus knows how to win fights. Wow. Just to let you know, guys, Dricus Du Plessis has just choked out Israel Adesanya with a rear naked choke in the fourth round with about a minute left. They embrace at the end of the fight. They're having a chat, which is good to see. The bad blood seems to have gone, but Izzy will kick himself there. That was.
He slips a couple of.
Yeah.
He slipped a couple of times on the canvas, didn't he? And he wasn't punished until that final time. But he did take a couple of right hands over the top.
I'm looking forward to seeing the replay here. Yeah, is he never been submitted before? At least in the UFC, anyway. I just want to he wasn't hurt. He wasn't like. I caught him with a good shot over the top, Du Plessis, from that replay. I can see, but. No, but that was a while. Then there's the Du Plessis kicked his leg. Did he to trip him? Yeah, so he's hitting him with punches, and then he takes him down. Yeah, he takes him down. It's clear. It's really effective work from Du Plessis. That's a great win and a great finish for Dricus Du Plessis.
It's the exact finish you look for in the first or second round as well, isn't it?
He was looking for it all night. He is frustrated, man. You just cannot. This Dricus Du Plessis, he looks ragged. He looks like he rushes in. He looks slow. Like, the guy just knows how to win fights. He's a winner. He's a serial winner.
He's good, but horrible to watch at the same time, isn't he?
Yeah.
You respect what he does, but you're not enthralled watching it. That makes sense. It's scrappy stuff.
Yeah, where does he go? He's lost 2 in a row for the first time in his career, I believe. Anyway,
up to light heavy.
I just don't know how light heavy ends for him. He's tried it with Jan Blachowicz, and great respect to Jan Blachowicz. He's not an amazing. He's a good champion and a good fighter, but I don't believe that. He's talking to the camera. There were people believing that Izzy said at the weigh-in something like that, "You'll miss me," or "I'll miss this." Was that a hint at retirement? I don't know, but we'll see. There doesn't look to be any gloves taken off, but both men have embraced. Both men seem to, be on good terms now, which you do see a lot of the time. But there was a lot of heat leading into this fight, so you just never know at times. We're at 5:53 in the UK. We'll see it through till 6, and then we'll have a little look at what the reaction is here. Still got 5 to 6 people on. Thanks for tuning in, guys. But yeah, wow, Dricus Du Plessis. What about this guy? You just cannot write him off. What a weekend for the South Africans in Perth. Yeah, you've got to give Du Plessis credit, for his limitations in technical ability. The guy is just an absolute warrior.
Yeah, you give Dricus a hell of a lot of credit there, because he was taking punishment. He was taking a beating. That's the best way. He was taking a beating. He was taking punishment. He never looks in trouble, but he looked like he was struggling. And then out of nowhere, he found himself in a position where he could finish Izzy off, and he took it. That happened within 20 seconds. That happened.
Incredible.
I'm just watching Izzy take his gloves off here. I'm just keeping an eye on him in case he does.
Yeah, most definitely.
Symbolize. Cameras panned away from him at the moment, just in case he does place them down.
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting one, because he did say at the weigh-in, as I just said not too long ago, that you'll miss me, and a lot of people, the internet's a strange place, but a lot of people read into that a little bit. Du Plessis performed well. He did. Izzy looked good as well, but credit to Dricus Du Plessis. You can't take anything away from him. He took some licks. He took a lot of body shots from Izzy.
Yeah, I think with Izzy, if he was completely out of fault again, or similar to Strickland, or completely knocked out cold, then perhaps you are having a conversation about retiring. But he was in the fight, wasn't he? He was in a very good position.
He performed well. When they released the cards, I'd be surprised if Izzy wasn't ahead on the cards leading up to
ultimately he's lost the fight, but he was winning up to that point. Okay, he's got an L on his records, but he's walking around the octagon here. He's frustrated.
Yeah,
doesn't look like he's putting his gloves down in the middle. Looks like they're going to a member of his team, but he's hanging around.
His gloves are off, but they're not. They're not, in his hand or anything like that. So he's still got a lot to give Israel Adesanya. There's, it's just tough to see where it goes because he's out of the title picture for the time being. You know, it's every one of his. I think this was his 11th UFC title fight in a row, which is an insane statistic. So, you know, he's definitely not going to be in a title fight in his next fight, that's for sure. But, you know, he's hardly going to go down to 3-rounders either. So, you know, who is there to fight? You know, Strickland's next. Dana's already said Strickland's next. So it'll be Strickland Du Plessis rematch next for the UFC Middleweight Championship. So do Izzy and Rob Whittaker run a 5-round trilogy? Don't think there's too much demand for that fight, if I'm being honest. But
would that be the third or fourth time they fought?
Third, I think. Izzy's 2-0 over Whittaker.
This is the thing I was about to say. Pereira's moved up. Strickland's going to fight Du Plessis. Everyone else is sort of in and around the picture. Izzy's beaten at least once. So it's a very interesting position to be in, because like we just said.
Definitely. Bilal Muhammad throwing a bit of shade at Dricus Du Plessis, the welterweight champion, shooting his shot, a potential shot, 185 pounds. I've seen that spoke about for a while because Islam is looking to move up, I believe, after one more win at 155 to fight at welterweight. But him and Bilal Muhammad are good friends, so I don't think that they'll ever fight. So, well, here's Izzy with DC. Obviously, we can't hear it, so we'll just see what the reactions are. The crowd seem to be lapping him up.
It's an interesting one with Bilal. I mean, for me, I don't think Bilal would be. If Bilal was to fight Dricus, for example, I don't think he'd be big enough. As good a performance as he put in against Leon, I think the size difference would be too much for him. He may be able to exert himself on the fight, but I don't see him being able to do it for 5 rounds, especially with someone who has the grappling ability of Dricus Du Plessis.
Yeah,
so that's perhaps Bilal trying to make himself relevant, trying to get Dana to pay him some attention, because as we know, he's not exactly the sexiest proposition as a UFC champion.
No, absolutely. So, there's going to be some good movement going on here, but you know, it would have been a popular win, I think, for the UFC, and definitely a popular win for the UFC fans if Israel won that fight. But he seemed to take it well. He went over to congratulate DDP. He's having a laugh with Daniel Cormier on the microphone.
Yeah,
so seems to be in fairly good spirits.
Gracious as ever, not taking it personally or badly at all.
I think he knows again now. I think he knows as well himself. He performed well in there tonight. He kind of got caught lacking for one little part. Well, he's Daniel Cormier shakes him for a handshake for a while. He gets another hug from Du Plessis. It's very very jovial towards the end there. But yeah, we'll see what the implications mean for the. Oh no, they've had Izzy's giving him a little kiss now. It's getting very lovey-dovey. I didn't expect that, but then again, you know, they've both made each other a hell of a lot of money. You know, had a good fight with each other. You know, they probably can be friends now. Ultimately, it's probably the hatchet's been buried. That's a great thing about mixed martial arts. You know, you get to go and settle it in the octagon in front of the world. So,
Izzy raising the hand of Dricus and walking around the octagon, just showing the class he has.
That's brilliant. Great fight. Good night of action. We're 2 minutes 13. It's just gone bang on 6 a.m. here in the UK. We'll wrap it up there. Liam, thank you very much for joining, guys. We've had 1,300 plus of you swinging at some point during this. I really appreciate that. Please subscribe going forward, and we'll look to do a few more of these. Take it easy, Liam. Thank you, mate.
Cheers, Sam. Thank you very much for watching, guys. See you later.